Hey, people lifers. This is Dr. Kelly OMD. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. This is Ask Dr. Kelly OMD, and we have a very special guest, Miss Jennifer Cunningham. She is not only an amazing hairstylist, she's my debutante sister and my soror. So, as you know, we only bring the best of the best to you. Jennifer, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, ladies. Thank you, Dr. Kelly. I'm so excited. I see some of my people in here. I recognize the names. Thank you all for joining. Like she said, my name is Jennifer Cunningham. I'm a hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist for 25 years. One of my motto has always been healthy hair care. So I'm super excited to be here with you all to answer all your questions, to maybe debunk some of the myths you may have about your hair, to encourage you about your hair, to just get you on the right path to the healthiest hair journey you could possibly have.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is amazing. So, one of the things that we always do is say, what are the top 3 things that you want us to know about our hair tonight?
Top 3 things. So, things I always find myself talking to my clients about is 1, healthy hair starts from within. And so what that means is that what you put in your body or not, your hair will reflect it. How you treat your hair is very important. So if you love your hair, it will show. And 3, the third thing is that just you are not your hair. Like your hair is just an extension of you, but you are not your hair.
Mm-hmm. We love that because there's that song, right? I am not my hair. There's so much more to me. And I think sometimes we all get a little bit frustrated, as I have in the past. As a matter of fact, I got so frustrated, I just shaved all my hair off one day. But thank God it grew back. But it's all about those things you talked about. So what you put in your body, and that's why this conversation is really important between us, because me as an OBGYN, a physician, and you as a hairstylist, we're actually doing a lot of things that combining. So when we talk about put in our body, I focus on the Viva Life 5, which is the fruits, the vegetables, eating, the beans, as well as the grains and nuts, if you're not allergic, and drinking a lot of water. Whereas you, I heard, have a product that you would like to tell us about that can help us with our hair.
I do. And I just happen to have it right here. I created a healthy hair growth vitamin called Black Girl B Complex. And how this came about is throughout the years, because healthy hair was always my motto, I've had clients who have struggled with hair and be like, okay, how do I get my hair to grow? What do I do? What do I need to do? And so as I've gotten older, I now realize that, I came to realize that what we put in our body is a reflection. And sometimes when we're lacking things that we're not even aware of, that affects our hair too. So I start asking my clients, as soon as they're having hair trouble, they're like, oh, it's shedding, or oh, it's breaking. First thing I ask them is like, 1, are you on medication? Because that affects your hair, And then we'll go down the list. Well, what are you on? Are you on birth control pills? Are you on high blood pressure pills? Are you on antibiotics? Because a lot of that comes through your pores, and I can smell it, especially if they're on antibiotics. Like, I'll know. Then if they say, well, no to none of those, okay, so maybe you're deficient in something. And so the next thing I suggest is that they go to a doctor and get a full panel of blood work to see what they may be deficient in. Because a lot of times we don't know that deficiencies in our body affect our hair. Case in point, my sister was super anemic and her hair was so thin. So I dug deeper in what that looks like. And it's like, okay, well, you need blood to circulate in your scalp. And if you're anemic, you don't have enough blood. And so it causes your hair to thin out. So simple things like that we don't even realize affect our hair.
That is so true. So like you were saying, a lot of people always say, well, go to your primary care provider, or go to your OBGYN and ask them about this. And these are the types of things, the questions that you're bringing forth. These are great questions to ask your provider. Now, a lot of providers may not know about hair, especially our hair. So that's why we have you on here to work in collaboration with that. So as you were saying, you said, some of the questions you asked, medications. What are some of the common medications you hear that people are on that affect their hair, or types of medication that they're on that affect their hair?
Blood pressure.
Yes.
Blood pressure medicine is the one that it will, and depending on which one, because not all blood pressure medications have the same effect on hair, but it will cause the hair. Sometimes it causes it to thin really bad. I won't say changes the texture, but it definitely will thin it out. That's the number one medication that I notice. I'll know there is a difference in the hair.
And then you also mentioned birth control. So one of the birth controls that people use a lot of, besides the pill, people have been getting on an Nexplanon, which is a high progesterone medication. Or if somebody is unfortunately maybe have cancer or have some really heavy bleeding, we'll put them on a very high dose of progesterone or even steroids. And yes, not only does that help you gain weight, but it also can cause some hair loss associated with that too. So since you're, taking care of women all the time, you get to hear about the birth control, the different birth controls that potentially could be causing problems from women as well. Yes?
Yes. So now I have the clients that are menopause. So now
Absolutely.
that's a whole different, conversation to have with them. And I send them straight to the doctor because I'm not a physician, but I'm like, yeah, something's different. Go check with your physician and see what could be happening with you in the inside.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So somebody mentioned, I never thought about anemia affecting the hair. So absolutely. I mean, anemia affects so much, and our hair is one of those things. And I mean, we talk about fatigue, being tired. And then if you're fatigued and tired, you're probably not going to wash your hair regularly. You're probably not going to do all the things that you need to do. And then of course, you don't have the oxygenation that's coming to your scalp so that your hair can grow. Don't we have to ask for a specific type of lab workup that will show vitamin and mineral deficiencies? And the answer to that is yes. There are specific types of workups that you can do that will show those vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So a lot of times when you go in, physicians will kind of do a basic panel. So that'll be what we call a CBC. So that'll check your hemoglobin level. So that's talking about the anemia. It'll also check and see whether or not your white blood cell count. It'll also check and see if you do a chemistry panel, what is your, sodium, potassium, what is your glucose, all of those. But then also if you want to get specific things like an iron check, okay, folic acid check, a vitamin check, those are things that also can be checked on your lab panels as well. All right. Can you tell us a little bit about relaxers? Because let me tell you, I was getting them when I was a little girl and we all started getting a Jerry curl, a relaxer or something. So talk to us about relaxers and what they are good for and what they're not good for.
So a relaxer basically is a chemical and its base is lye. And you have to have some sort of chemical to relax the hair. Now, there are products like there was the Brazilian blowout. People have protein treatments. They have blowouts, which aren't necessarily a chemical, but I'll come back to that. So, but to have a relaxer and for your hair to be relaxed, there's the underlying base of it is lye. Even in no lye relaxers, there's actually lye because something has to get your hair straight. What makes it a no lye relaxer is because the base of it is different than what a regular lye relaxer is. So I don't know how many of you all have maybe tried to relax your hair at home yourself. And the first time you do it, it's great, it's straight. And then the second time you do it, it's a little bit more spongy. And every time you do it, it gets more spongy and more spongy. That's because the base of it is protein. And your hair already is naturally protein. So you're just stacking more protein on top of it. So because based off of the amount of lye that's in it, they are allowed to call it a no lye relaxer, but you have to have a chemical in it to straighten your hair.
So the no lye relaxer is lying to us.
It's a lie. Yeah, it's absolutely a lie. It's just the base of it is different, but it also has your hair drier because you can over protein your hair. And so that's, for anybody who's ever done a home relaxer, and when I was younger and before my career started, I remember being in middle school and relaxing my hair to be spongy, spongy, spongy. And then as clients would do it, they come in. As soon as I do their hair, I'm like, oh, you have a box from her. And they're like, how can you tell? And I'm like, yeah, because it's all spongy. And then it gets hard. And so it just becomes like this thing. And then what happens is you think you need to relax your hair more frequently. Now you're relaxing every 4 weeks because you're feeling like it's not as straight. So that's why you go to a professional and get you a lye relaxer if you want to relax it. Now, as far as a healthy way to straighten your hair, there are the Brazilian blowouts, and they're called the keratin treatments. I'm sorry, I said protein. They're called keratin treatments. And what that does is it actually just goes in. Your hair is made of different things, and keratin is one of them. So what keratin does, it actually penetrates the strands of your hair, which temporarily lock in. It's hard to explain from like a hair, like to a common person, but for us, just to think of it as a plant or a tree that has like all these branches that are open. And what the keratin does, it goes in and it fills it in. So it kind of allows your hair to stay straight. But over time, as you wash it, you're washing the keratin out. So that's why you get a keratin treatment more often, or it doesn't last as long as a relaxer. If that makes sense.
Oh, that makes complete sense, because I was thinking about, okay, the Brazilian blowout. But I'll be honest with you, I came out of the relaxer, number one, because I wanted, when I was getting pregnant with my son, I wanted to make sure that I had nothing, no chemicals, no nothing in my body. And that was one of the times that was the last time probably I came out of the relaxer. And then there's always the question of uterine fibroids. Do uterine fibroids cause, do relaxers contribute to uterine fibroids? And initially, I'll tell you, about 15 years ago, I would have said no, but now I do believe that the relaxers do contribute. That it's a chemical people are putting in their hair for, every 4 to 6 weeks. And I think it's causing some harm to our body. The other thing that people complain about is their hair coming out on the edges. Can you talk about the hair coming out on the edges and why that could be happening to them?
Well, it depends if it's shedding, like shedding on the edges, or if it's being pulled. So from braids, pulling back, tension. So you'd have to address what that issue is first, right? I do know that my clients that are pregnant, when they have babies, I tell them, I'm like, when your baby's about between 4 and 6 months, your edges, there's a possibility your edges will thin. Now, I'm not quite sure what that is about. I don't know if it's the hormones, but and more than likely it does happen. Most women, I've seen it happen where it gets thin right in here, just on the little temple area. Now, if you're experiencing excessive hair loss, what is to address is like, what am I doing? So am I pulling it back? Am I wearing braids? Am I wearing wigs? And then what am I doing when I have these on? Like, is it tight around here? Is it rubbing? What are we doing about the edges? Now, I will say this, your hair does have memory. So as you keep pulling your hair over the years, that hair will say, oh, she doesn't want me to be there. And so that's why you have the thinning edges that never come back.
So true. There's so much to that. And there's so much to talk about in that thinning piece of it as well. So somebody asked a question, how does excessive sweating affect your hair?
So when you sweat, it's salt, and salt dries things out. So that's Adonica. I know her. That's one of the, that is the thing, like you're sweating. If you're sweating excessively, then your hair is continuing to have salt in it. And just think about when we put salt on our food and salt on our bodies, what happens? We're thirsty, it can dehydrate us. So it has the same effect on the hair.
So that being said, I know that might be coming up because we have a lot of people that exercise here in the room. And what is your recommendation for those of us that exercise? Sometimes I put that little, I don't know, wick. It's like it's that thing that you wrap around your hair. Way to spend, yeah, the band. But what are your recommendations in regards to exercising and keeping our hair, clean and healthy?
So 95% of my clients are natural. And what that means is that they don't have relaxers. I don't have a relaxer. And the best advice I have for them is like, I have weekend hair. Like I just do my hair for the weekend because I know come Monday, if I'm working out, it's done. Now I will tell them maybe try, I think Ari Parker has a sweatband. Some people can wrap their hair, wear the sweatband, let it dry, and then comb their hair down and it'll be fine. Like everybody is different. So there's not one cookie cutter way of maintaining your hair and working out.
Okay. Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering that question. All righty. Next question. Does labetalol affect the hair? That's another antihypertensive medication that we use. A beta blocker is actually what it is, but essentially an antihypertensive. Does it affect the hair? So antihypertensives can affect the hair. It is, but one of the things we also do is look in that insert in that medication. And also, if that's the only medication that you're on and it starts changing your hair texture and starting to fall out, and you're trying to get things under control, you may want to ask for a different type of antihypertensive if that can work for you. So every single medication that's given to you has some type of side effect, and I would look in the actual insert on that medication taken to see what the side effects that are associated. But if that's the only thing that you started and your hair starts to change, then I would consider talking with your physician about changing that. And the other thing you can do is talk with a dermatologist in regards to that as well. Let's see. Do you recommend for healthy hair growth for those who have gone from a relaxer to a chemical-free hair to keep it moist and hydrated? I think you kind of answered that question.
Yes. I say, start with vitamins. Start with something to, kind of offset, like maybe if you're not taking a vitamin, start taking a vitamin to see if that helps. And that will promote healthy hair growth. I do tell my clients, like, a high percentage of hair growth is DNA. It's your DNA, what your parents, grandparents, however their hair is, that could be how your hair is, more than likely. So kind of look at your DNA first, and then go from there. Oh, you keep it moist and hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
So it all would depend on how you, like I said, the shampoos and conditioners make a big difference in the feel of your hair.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when we're going from relaxer to natural, clients will sit in my chair and they'll be like, my hair is so dry. And I'm like, well, what makes it dry? It just feels dry. And it's really not dry. Sometimes if we're used to using oils and we go, because I'm not a big oil user, like I don't use a lot of oils on my clients. If we go from using oils to not using oils, and I experienced this when I lived in Japan because I had a lot of clients who were used to oils, and I'm like, your hair is not dry. Truly dry hair feels like a tumbleweed. Like it will literally crumble in your hand. But sometimes we're just used to a certain feel of our hair. And so we think, oh, I need to put more oil on, and that's not the case.
So that's a good question because, they always supposed to put like a drop, right? Like a little, I guess, dime size. And I look at that and I'm like, that's what they tell me I'm supposed to use for shampoo. I'm like, I don't think that's going to do anything for my hair. So how much are we actually supposed to be putting in our hand when we're doing shampooing and conditioning versus if we do use any type of oil, how much should we be utilizing? How much oil should we utilize?
This is my favorite question. Favorite. So shampoo and conditioner is based off of how much hair you have and what you need to make sure you feel like your hair is clean. That's personal preference, personal hair. Oil. So my grandmother, who was 90, may she rest in peace, her hair was all the way down her back. She swore by Royal Crown. She's gonna grease her scalp. She's gonna use the Royal Crown. And I don't use oil. So she'd be like, baby, you gonna put some oil? I do use oil when I style, but I'm not greasing scalps. I'm not oiling scalps. I'm not using excessive amounts of oil because all it does is weigh the hair down and clog your pores. So you can use some to coat your hair. Like there's some out there for when you're flat ironing or when you're putting heat on there, like a heat protectant. That's fine. And in the summertime, when it's a little more humid, I tend to use a little bit more oil on my clients' hair just so it can last. Or if clients are coming out of braids and they want to get, their hair straightened, I'll let them know like, hey, more than likely your hair is not trained, so it's probably going to poof up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit more oil in your hair to help maintain your straightness, a little bit longer than what I would normally use. So, but I'm not a big fan of like oils because oils don't make your hair grow.
I love it. I love it. All righty. So I have another question that says, I am not ready to go gray yet. Is there a safe product to cover the gray?
I'm not ready to go gray either. And I use grays regularly.
Like I'm all about going gray. I cannot wait to get silver.
Nope. Somebody said to me last night, they was like, that's one thing you have not wavered on. I said, nope, I will not go gray, not go gray. You said a safe product to cover gray hair. Some people like to use them as clear off. She has like a gray coverage. You can try it and see. One thing about gray's stubborn. Everybody's gray is different. And so sometimes what works for one doesn't work for another. So I really can't speak to products that are like beauty supply products because what I use is more professional products. So if you're looking for stuff, I know people have tried like it comes in like a bottle and it's almost like a cellophane and it says for gray coverage. You can try those out and see how they work if you're doing it yourself. Okay. But if you're going to a stylist, then I would say, talk to your stylist, have a consultation and see what she suggests for your gray coverage.
Lovely. Okay, so we have a question. What are your top 3 must-haves to maintain natural curly styles?
Okay. Top 3 must-haves. So what I tell my clients when they go natural and they're like, I bought thousands of products. I've tried lots of things. One thing to know is that everybody's hair is different. So when YouTube was a big thing and everybody was running to YouTube and they come to their channel and be like, on YouTube, they said, I'll be like, tell me all about it. What they say on YouTube University. Enlighten me, right? That was always funny to me because the person on YouTube knows how to do their hair. And if you don't have their hair, your hair is not going to look like their hair, right? So what I suggest is, I'll suggest some stuff. Like I'll say, oh, maybe try the Shea Moisture Cream and see how that works. I do suggest that people use, I like the, it's Shea Moisture. It's a leave-in conditioner and it has black Jamaican castor in it. Oh boy, I can't say it. You know what I'm saying? Castor oil in it.
Right.
And what that does is that keeps moisture in the hair. So if you're going to twist your hair, I say use that. And because it allows the hair to have some moisture in it. But it's trial and error for the hair, like for natural hair. But one thing I do suggest is finding something that has moisture in it. Like I like foam wraps foam. I like the design. It's their natural line. It's the almond natural line. They have a foam wrap that is good for twisting. But I have people who have used it and they don't like it. You know, they also have a cream. So you have to kind of play around with what works for your hair to know what works. So I can't say, go get this, this, and this. You know, it's like an experiment.
Okay, sounds good. Jennifer, tell us and drop your link in the chat. How do we get in touch with you? So it's Black Girl B Complex. So BLKGIRLBCOMPLEX, Black Girl Complex on Instagram. And that's the same thing on your website, right?
Right, yes.
Okay. Cool. And then you have a prenatal, just not a prenatal vitamin, but a B vitamin complex, right? That you're also promoting. And that's what the
Black Girl B Complex, you can actually pick it up. The link is actually on my Instagram and I do have a website and my lovely line sister, I just put the link in the bio.
Awesome. And yeah, I want you to go ahead and I want you to go to her website her Instagram. And I want you to, first of all, subscribe and share. Right.
Please.
So we're here to support each other in our businesses, and we want to make sure that we help each other thrive. I'm Dr. Kelly, OMD. If you guys don't already know, Viva Life is about helping you live your healthiest and wealthiest life. My website is drkellyomd.com. It is also the same thing for the Instagram. We have packages for you. This week, we are starting our affirmation room Tuesday to Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And what we do is we bring in high-powered, successful people for 15 minutes and we go over what is it that we need to get rid of, what is it that we're affirming in our life, what are we trying to call forth, and what are we grateful for. So I want to see you there. Otherwise, we will see you on Dr. Kelly OMD every Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, so that we can have excellent webinars just like this with our guests. And we will make sure that you have all the right information to live your healthiest and wealthiest life. Have a good evening and good night. All right. Thank you for being a part of the Viva Life experience. I'm Dr. Kelly OMD, board certified OBGYN and healthcare executive. If you like what you heard, then please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. The reason why is because we are trying to educate, encourage, and inspire 1 million people to live their healthiest and wealthiest life. And this is what we're bringing you. We're bringing you educational videos. We're bringing you podcasts. We are bringing you webinars with subject matter experts, including myself, about the topics that affect you the most. So go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. We are everywhere. Have a wonderful day. Viva Life.